Picture your street at night. The porch lights glow softly, sprinklers click off in sequence, and every house looks exactly as it should: safe, familiar, predictable. Suburbs are designed to feel like the end of fear, a controlled environment where chaos is replaced by routine and danger is kept outside the cul-de-sac. But what if that sense of safety is the illusion? What if the manicured lawns and friendly waves are not signs of peace, but camouflage? Tonight, on True Terror Files Official, we are peeling back the quiet veneer of suburban life to expose the unsettling events hidden within seemingly normal homes, places where children vanish without explanation, where reality subtly shifts when no one is watching, and where a creeping dread slowly replaces comfort. Imagine hearing footsteps above you in an empty house, noticing doors unlocked that you distinctly remember securing, or realizing your neighbors are pretending not to notice something deeply wrong. These are not stories of abandoned mansions or cursed forests. These are horrors that thrive in plain sight. As you listen, ask yourself, how well do you truly know the people living beside you? And more disturbingly, how well do you know your own home? Before we continue, welcome to True Terror Files Official, where we document true accounts, unexplained phenomena, and psychological horrors that blur the line between reality and nightmare. If stories that linger long after the screen goes dark captivate you, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the most terrifying truths are often the ones closest to home. In a quiet neighborhood lined with identical two-story houses lived a family known for perfection. Holiday decorations were always early, the lawn never unpainted, and the children always polite until one day the oldest daughter simply stopped coming outside. Neighbors assumed college, then travel, then none of it at all. Weeks later, the mother was no longer seen. Her car remained in the driveway, groceries spoiled behind the door, yet no missing person report was filed. Over time, even the father vanished, leaving the house frozen in time, as if its occupants had been carefully erased. Authorities found no signs of struggle, no evidence of crime, and no explanations, just a home that felt wrong the moment anyone stepped inside. Floors creaked as if tracking movement, rooms felt unnaturally cold, and visitors reported a crushing sense of being watched. Psychologically, this is where suburban horror thrives. The familiar becomes hostile, and the place meant to protect you turns into a trap. Victims often describe intense gaslighting, not from people, but from the environment itself, where their home denies their experiences, making them question their own sanity. Doors that lock themselves, whispers that vanish when confronted, and a sense that leaving is somehow impossible. These homes don't attack, they wait, and by the time their residents realize something is wrong, silence has already swallowed them. Not all suburban nightmares begin with disappearance. Some begin with things that are easy to dismiss until they aren't. A man notices that objects in his kitchen are subtly rearranged each morning, not enough to prove intrusion, but enough to feel intentional. A woman hears her name whispered from empty rooms, always just out of reach. Mirrors reflect movements that lag a second too long. These are the stories most people never report because they sound insignificant on their own. But taken together, they form a pattern of reality erosions, more fractures that widen over time. Several anonymized accounts submitted to True Terror Files Official describe the same phenomenon. The house feels like it's learning its occupants. Sounds repeat themselves. Lights flicker only when certain thoughts occur. Bedrooms feel different at night, heavier, as though the air itself is watching. Psychologists often attribute these experiences to stress or suggestion, yet the consistency across unrelated households is difficult to ignore. What's more unsettling is that these anomalies often stop the moment someone prepares to move, only to resume once they decide to stay. It raises an uncomfortable question. Are these houses haunted, or are they actively interacting with those inside them? In the suburbs, terror doesn't announce itself. It integrates quietly into daily life until dread feels normal. Perhaps the most disturbing element of suburban nightmares, ice and tea. What happens inside the homes at S, how everyone else responds, or rather, how they don't. In one neighborhood, a series of sudden deaths occurred over a decade. Heart attacks, falls, unexplained illnesses. Each incident was isolated, never enough to cause alarm. Yet residents privately admitted a shared feeling something was wrong with the street itself. Despite this, no one spoke openly. Home values mattered. Appearances mattered. Normalcy mattered more than truth. This collective silence becomes a breeding ground for terror, where fear is suppressed rather than confronted. People avoid eye contact. Neighborhood gatherings quietly stop, and new families move in unaware of the history beneath their feet. Sociologists refer to this as communal denial, a survival instinct that paradoxically allows danger to persist. When everyone agrees not to see the problem grows stronger. Some former residents later confessed they felt relief only after leaving, like escaping something intelligent and patient. In suburbs, evil doesn't need secrecy. It relies on politeness. Suburban nightmares remind us that horror doesn't always arrive with claws or shadows. Sometimes it unfolds slowly, methodically, inside the places we trust most. A quiet house, a friendly neighbor, a street that looks like every other street. The true terror lies in the realization that safety can be a carefully maintained illusion and that dread can exist without spectacle. As you sit in your own home right now, listen carefully. Notice the sounds, the silence, the feeling of the room around you. Does it feel the same as it always has? Or has something subtly shifted? We invite you to share your own experiences in the comments, because every story brings us closer to understanding what hides behind closed doors. And if you want more investigations into the horrors hiding in plain sight, subscribe to True Terror Files Official, because the scariest stories aren't found in abandoned places. They're happening right next door.